I had these buyers that had to terminate their entire deal after they already paid for inspections because the condo questionnaire came back to the lender and the lender was like, no way, we're not giving you money for this place, this condo. Not in this complex. No sirree, no ma'am.
What is the condo questionnaire?
So the condo questionnaire is something like, loans have always had guidelines, but this condo questionnaire became like a big deal a couple of years ago. I don't know if you saw in the news. Did you see this condo collapse in Florida? I think it happened in like 2021.
Oh, I think so. I think I remember that.
Yeah. So of course, in the US, if something terrible happens, then we want to put some new rules into place so it doesn't happen again, right? So they got this condo questionnaire up and going. And so for any Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loans, which government-backed loans, they make up like almost 80% of all loans. They put new requirements into place, and it all took effect in September of 2023. So it's been not quite 2 years that's been happening.
Okay.
So the condo questionnaire is looking, I don't even know that I answered your question. The condo questionnaire is asking stuff about the HOA to make sure that that condo and that complex are safe and it's all like financially healthy. Like the lender just wants to be really sure that it's going to be a stable, a safe investment for them, right? Because they don't want to loan you money on something that like if it collapses, now they're SOL for their money. But there's all this stuff that is on the condo questionnaire that is making these loans fall out. I think it's kind of like 5 different things. Some of it has to do with insurance. Have you ever heard the difference between like replacement cost value or actual cost? Like how insurance does 2 different, like you have to check your policy to see which one you have.
I might need to check my policies. I don't know that I have heard that.
So while they're trying to make sure the whole complex is stable, like the roof is the best example, right? So they want to make sure that the HOA's master insurance policy has 100% replacement cost on the roof. Otherwise, they're not going to give you money to live there because it's one of those things where like if the roof needs replaced and the insurance isn't covering it, then the HOA has to be able to either cover the whole thing or make up the difference. And if they can't, like if they don't have enough funds for that, that's where you start getting into special assessments where now they have to split up the cost of whatever needs done, split it up between all the owners and go, here you go. Now you guys have to pay us this special assessment to pay for this new roof that we need or whatever it is.
I think I'm actually gonna be going through that.
What's going on?
So definitely notice my HOA like president and some assessors and that and whatnot like coming around, and they've been assessing the property, and I know that they've put in a claim at surrounding like the pool area because of the hill.
Okay.
Like hailstorms that happened in 2023, and I didn't know that they were doing like the roof stuff, but apparently that's going to be an issue and whatnot. So
they've put a claim in with their master insurance policy.
yes.
And you think the master insurance policy isn't covering it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that is a problem. I actually have another story about that too. And it's not uncommon. That's the problem.
But I'm looking forward to that bill.
Ooh, yeah. So this master insurance policy thing, like, insurance has gone up everywhere in the last couple of years. It's gone up a lot. And some insurance agents are switching the HOA, like the HOAs are trying to keep their monthly dues down, right? So if they go talk to when they renew their master insurance policy every year, the insurance agents are going, well, why don't we move your deductible from 5% to 8%? Because that'll keep your premium down. But what all the people in that room, I don't even think that they realize, is that now they are excluding 80% of loans, so all the government-backed loans. They're reducing their buyer pool in that complex because that's another one of these rules that has come out of this for HOAs is that the master insurance policy deductible can't be more than 5%. So every HOA that has done that in order to try to keep costs down has also reduced their buyer pool from, say, 100% to 20%.
Wow.
And it decreases your value. Like over
Right.
time, it decreases your value.
Right.
So, okay, so the condo questionnaire. So the master insurance policy deductible can't be more than 5%, and and it has to have 100% replacement cost for them to say yes to the loan. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing that's on this condo questionnaire that they're looking for, the question that they're asking. They want to know, is there any active litigation?
Okay. That makes sense too.
I can think of a couple. This might actually be a good time to talk about Club Valencia. Oh, that's a terrible story. It's such a nightmare for all the people who live there. They had 2 fires a couple of years ago, and the fire department came in, got the fires out. Then they found asbestos, and they closed an entire section of this place off. So it's like 330 units, and they've closed off like 167 of them. Because they found asbestos. They said, hey, master insurance policy, we're making this claim for this fire that happened, and we need asbestos abatement now. And the master insurance policy was like, the company was like, no, we're not paying for that. So the HOA and the insurance company went to court. They've been in court ever since. I think it's in a federal court now. And they've just been fighting about it this whole time. And for the last 2 years, none of those people in those houses have been able to access their houses. It's decreased their value a ton. If you watch RAV4 Real Estate and you've been seeing the short sale updates, that's where that condo is that we have to short sale. It's in Club Valencia. It sucks. So the lenders are CYA and making sure that there's no active litigation before they loan money. There's another one too. Have you heard of the Lake House Towers at Sloan's Lake?
No.
So this place, this is a construction defects lawsuit. And that's also another very common lawsuit to have happen in these HOAs. And it's become a big problem in the last few years because there was some legislation about construction defects that had passed several years ago. So this has become more and more of a problem in this HOA condo market. But the lake house over at Sloan's Lake, they built this giant tower that looks out over Sloan's Lake, and it's beautiful. And it's this luxury building. It has all these great amenities. It had like a community garden, and you could go downstairs and just pick up some tomatoes and bring them up to your kitchen from the garden. Like it was awesome, right? So we had this client that bought in there several years ago, and he's moved and has some other stuff. He's not even in the state anymore, so he wants to sell it. Well, they're in a construction defect lawsuit with the builder. It was brand new when our client bought it, right? He bought the new build. Now, everything from windows to plumbing, there seem to be a lot of problems over there. And so the HOA is going, this is a brand new building. We shouldn't be having these problems.
Right.
These are construction defects. So they took the builder to court. Well, a bunch of the stuff they're not paying for. They're not paying for any updates or repairs because they're waiting for court to say, you win. They have to pay, the builder has to pay to fix these things.
Right.
But in the meantime, like,
so anyone living there is just SOL.
Like the drywall is all taken down. Like he wants to sell his place. And I'm like, well, we probably should wait to sell it until at least they have the drywall back up. But they're really doing a minimum amount of repairs, like only what needs to be done.
Right.
While they wait for, they're hoping to get this money from this lawsuit.
Right.
It's awful. That thing, it's not worth what he paid for it. Like if we sold it right now, we would not be able to list it for the same price that he bought it for.
Right. Right.
I mean, it breaks my heart. It's awful.
That is, because it's a big investment
Mm-hmm.
to just throw it away. That's crazy.
I know. Well, yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
Let's see. Condo questionnaire. Back to the condo questionnaire. What else are the lenders looking for on the condo questionnaire? Another thing they're looking for is they're looking at the units themselves. So I actually learned something from you about that, because I knew that there are some limitations where, like, if there's more than a certain percentage of units that are rental units and they're not owner occupied, the lender will be like, no, we're not lending. Like they don't consider that to be financially healthy to have like too many, whatever they deem is too many rental units. But there was another stipulation too that you told me about.
What was the number, percentage, right, of how many renter occupied?
Of how many people could own one?
Yeah.
How many people? No, one.
Like, I can't even say it now either. How many people how many units one person
One person can own. Yeah, that's what it was.
Words are hard. It's fine.
That one's kind of an obscure one, but it happens. I found out somebody at Club Valencia owns like 30 of those. Like, so depending on what they deem the correct percentage is,
right.
and I don't know who's keeping track of that, but the lenders are asking and they're getting the answer, and it makes a difference as to whether or not they're going to give you the loan. What's another thing that they're asking about? Oh, this is the last one, the reserves. Talk to me about reserves. What do you know about reserves in an HOA?
All I really know is like that it's kind of what they have on hand, or what to be able to spend if they need to do any kind of repairs, or like what they have on hand to do preventative kind of maintenance or that kind of thing or whatnot.
Yeah, I think you really hit it on the head, especially with the preventative part. Because the reserves, because they have money for like their operating expenses, like regular stuff that they have to pay all the time, right? Like the groundskeeper.
Dues in general.
Yeah, so everybody pays their dues in, and a certain percentage of the dues is going for like the daily operations, the property management company, like I said, the groundskeeper, trash pickup, stuff like that, right?
Right.
And then there should be, but HOAs don't have any HOAs don't have any regulation.
True.
So they should be putting a percentage of monthly dues into a reserves account, so a savings account. And that money should be accumulating and saving up over years. And they should have a plan in place for the big ticket stuff. Like, how often do we need to replace the roofs here? Is it every 20 years? Then we need to budget for what the roofs are going to cost 20 years, or when we expect their lifespan to end. All right. What's that going to cost in that year? Because they factor in like inflation. And so how much will we need to save every month so that we have that amount in that year? So whether it's roofs or siding or, I don't know, even like, what?
Plumbing?
Yeah, maybe replacing plumbing. I mean, it could be a lot of different stuff.
Guess that would just depend though, too.
But yeah, does your HOA, what do you know about their reserves? Do you know if a percentage of your dues are going into a reserves account?
I feel like I know when I bought it that I looked at all the calculations and all of like, what am I thinking of?
The budget.
Yes.
The financials.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of that. And that it looked pretty good, but when I feel like then afterwards I kind of looked back at it and I was just like, I feel like I didn't look at it properly.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Because every buyer has at least 7 days to review condo docs.
Yeah.
But it's so much stuff, and some of it is legal, and then you get into financial stuff, and if you're not a financial person, you kind of don't even know what you should be looking for.
And if you've never looked at those kind of documents in general, like,
Right.
what do you actually look at?
Right.
And how do you interpret it, basically, too?
Well, and also, like, how much is enough, you know? Like, I could look at financials and see if they have a line item that's going into reserves every month. And if they provide their financials, you should be able to see like how much, like a balance statement or something, so you could see how much money that they have on hand, like how much do they have in reserves. But I don't even think you always get a balance statement with the financials.
I think I could go in my portal and I could probably find it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my owner portal thing, like where I pay my mortgage and do all that. Not my mortgage, but my HOA dues and all that. But
Yeah.
and see the monthly notes from the meetings and all that good stuff. But again, it's still like it's not a user-friendly site. It's, it's confusing. It's none of it's user-friendly, and it just doesn't make sense. So,
Yeah, and that's another thing that like your ability to access that stuff and how easy it is to get access to it, that just varies from HOA to HOA and kind of depends on if they have a property management company or not and how easy their system is to use. So, there's just a lot of stuff about HOAs that you don't really know, and you can't, it's really difficult to understand until you get in and you're actually there. Um but back to the story from the beginning, right? These buyers that had to terminate their deal. It was heartbreaking, but because I knew now we have to go shopping and now they have to spend, they didn't have a ton of money, but now they have to pay twice for stuff like inspections, right? And that's just part of the deal. I mean, paying for an inspection and then having to terminate the deal later, like you're doing your due diligence is just part of the process. It has to be done. And if you have to terminate the deal, I mean, you think about, let's just say you're buying a $400,000 place, right? So you're spending, let's say, $400 to $600, maybe $1,000 if you want to inspect everything, on a $400,000 asset, spending, let's even just say $1,000, the high estimate. I mean, that's not very much to protect that big of an investment.
right. And to know what you're getting into, if just in case, like, yeah.
Yeah. And I just told them, I said, this is great because it saves you from having to make the decision from looking through all those HOA docs, not knowing what you're looking at, not knowing what you're supposed to really be looking for, maybe not understanding what you're looking at, and then trying to make the decision, okay, does this HOA seem okay and I want to move forward with the deal? Now you've had that decision made for you.
Right.
The lender looked at it. The lender's a financial institution, right? So they know what they're looking at.
Right.
And they looked at it with financial eyes and they were like, no.
Right.
So I felt like, you could portray that both ways, right? Like, oh, this is terrible. We had to terminate the inspection. But I was like, this is great news. Like, you've just been saved. Imagine if they would have given you the money and you moved in and now you're getting slapped with special assessments because they can't afford whatever it is that they need to keep the community up and running and healthy. So I think it was a win for them.
I kind of am thinking that about my place at this moment.
You wish it
Because
would have
that was-
happened to you.
Because the hailstorm is literally a year after I bought it. So,
Yeah.
and now a year, well, basically it started, they would have done it like, I guess at that point, I didn't know that that was a claim thing until last year with the pool, because they didn't replace any pool furniture because they put it in as a claim. Even with the pool furniture, like, well, put the pool furniture away.
I
Like,
remember you
why was
talking
this
to
a
me
thing?
about the pool furniture. Yes, that
So
was a whole
2
thing.
summers so far of no pool furniture. Like,
You're like, I could have lived without the water, but I would have at least liked to lay out in the sun.
yes, exactly.
But all right, well, I think we've pretty much covered the condo questionnaire. You tell me what's the condo questionnaire?
In layman's terms, let's see. I would say it's to protect your money.
The lender's money.
Well, that too, but ultimately your your financial situation like altogether.
Yeah. Yeah. The lender is getting super nosy about the health of the HOA,
Yeah.
and they're asking some real specific questions to drill into how healthy is this HOA before they decide whether or not they're going to approve the mortgage.
Yeah. And that's smart.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for today. If you like this video, if you like me, or if you just like supporting small business in our alternative lifestyle communities, then before you go, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and follow the channel.